Sometimes you stumble onto these stories that just seem, well, almost unbelievable. This week, it's a full-blown courtroom battle, ignited by, of all things, Sharbat, rose syrup.
Right. Sounds so trivial on the surface.
Exactly. But then you dig in, and boom, the Delhi High Court delivered this really strong verbal smackdown, as some called it, just yesterday, April 22nd, 2025.
Yeah, directed squarely at Baba Ramdev.
Over his Sharbat Jihad comment, which was clearly aimed at Hamdard Laboratories and their, iconic Rooh Afza.
And the court's language wasn't messing around. They seemed genuinely concerned, not just about, unfair competition, but something much bigger.
It really signals how something seemingly small, like a drink, can tap into these much larger societal tensions, communal harmony, free speech, business ethics. It's all tangled up in there.
It really is. The court's reaction on the 22nd shows a serious worry about using this kind of rhetoric, especially deliberately.
So let's set the scene a bit. April 3rd, 2025. Baba Ramdev, who most people know from yoga and as the founder of Patanjali, launches his own rose sharbat called Gulab Sharbat.
Okay, standard product launch, you'd think.
You'd think. But instead of just talking about taste or price, he puts out this promotional video. And in it, he talks about a certain company.
Uh-huh. Doesn't name Hamdard?
Nope, never names them directly. But, come on, everyone knew exactly who he was talking about. He suggested their profits were being used to build mosques and madrasas.
Wow. Okay, that's quite the insinuation to make during a product launch. Even without naming names, it plants a seed, right?
Definitely. It's like suddenly trying to influence people by linking the competitor to a specific religious funding stream, maybe tapping into existing biases or
It's
something.
a very charged approach.
Totally. And then he drops the phrase, Sharbat Jihad. He puts it right alongside terms like love jihad and vote jihad.
Okay, so he's explicitly framing this as part of that same narrative, that same kind of conflict.
Seems like it. He contrasted it by saying, buying Patanjali Sharbat helps fund their institutions, Gurukuls, Acharyakulam, Patanjali University, the Harathiya Shiksha Board. So it's not just buy my drink, it's make a religiously aligned choice.
It's turning a consumer choice into something much more loaded, a statement of identity almost.
And just for good measure, he threw in a line comparing other soft drinks to toilet cleaners.
Right. That's a classic Ramdevism, isn't it? The critique of modern products.
Yeah. And this wasn't just a one-off comment in a video. The official Patanjali Products Facebook page then pushed it further.
Oh, really? What did they post?
They posted about the poison of toilet cleaners again and explicitly used the term Sharbat Jihad, telling people basically only buy Patanjali Sharbat and juices.
So reinforcing the message and making it more direct?
Exactly. So you can imagine Hamdard, the makers of Rooh Afza, they weren't exactly thrilled.
I bet. Rooh Afza's got such a long history, right? It's not just some new drink.
Oh, absolutely. It was invented way, way back in 1907 by Hakim Hafiz Abdul Majid. It's been this, staple cooling drink for over a century.
And it's everywhere, isn't it? I mean, you see it across communities.
Totally. It's a big part of iftar during Ramadan, but you also see it served during Hindu festivals and just, generally during hot weather. It's got this really broad cultural significance.
A real unifying element in a way, which makes the jihad comment even more jarring, I suppose.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So fast forward to April 22nd. Hamdard goes to the Delhi High Court. They file a suit accusing Ramdev of defamation, obviously, but also, crucially, of trying to stir up communal discord.
Taking it beyond just a business dispute.
Yes, and they brought in the big guns, senior advocate Mukul Rohatgi.
Oh, wow. Okay. He carries some weight.
He certainly does. And Rohatgi argued that Ramdev's remarks were akin to hate speech. He said it was a deliberate attempt to create a communal divide and went way beyond simple product disparagement.
Framing it as potentially inciting real-world harm, not just hurting sales.
Exactly. Rohatgi apparently asked in court quite directly, why is he troubling us? What's the motivation here?
A fair question.
And the judge, Justice Amit Bansal, seemed to agree with the seriousness of it. His reaction was strong.
What did he say?
He reportedly said the remarks shocked the conscience of the court and called them indefensible. He basically warned Ramdev's lawyers that this was not okay.
So, a very clear signal from the bench.
Definitely. The court ordered Ramdev to take down the videos and the Facebook posts immediately. And he has to submit an affidavit, like a sworn statement, within a week, promising he won't make statements like that again.
An affidavit, that's quite specific, a formal promise to the court.
Yep. And the next hearing is set for May 1st, 2025. So things are moving quickly. The court clearly wants this nipped in the bud.
That immediate, strong judicial response is pretty significant, isn't it? Sends a message that using this kind of language, especially linking commerce and communalism, crosses a line.
Absolutely. Now, interestingly, Ramdev himself had put out a media statement a few days before the hearing on April 18th.
Oh, yeah. What was his angle then?
His main point was, hey, I didn't name any specific brand, the classic plausible deniability attempt.
Right. I didn't say their name.
But then, and this is where it gets really quite something, he followed that up by saying, well, if the Rooh Afza people felt targeted by the term Sharbat Jihad, then it means they are the ones doing this jihad.
Wait, what? He turned it back on them?
Kind of. He basically said, if the shoe fits. And then he added that Hamdard should actually be happy if they are dedicated to Islam and building mosques and madrasas.
That seems incredibly provocative,
Yeah.
suggesting they should embrace the very thing he framed negatively.
Right. And then he finished with a sort of nudge to Sanatanis,
Yeah.
Followers of traditional Hinduism. It was like, see, this is what's happening.
Oh, so much for not naming names. That statement pretty much doubles down on the whole religious angle, doesn't it? It's a very interesting defense strategy.
It certainly is.
Hmm.
And, this hasn't just stayed in the corporate or legal world. It spilled over into politics, too. Well, Digvijaya Singh, the senior Congress leader, filed a police complaint against Ramdev way back on April 15th.
Okay, before the court case even started.
Yeah, down in Bhopal. He accused Ramdev of promoting religious hatred and demanded the police file an FIR, a formal police report, under sections of the new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and the IT Act.
So pushing for criminal charges.
Exactly. Singh called Ramdev's remarks hurtful, full of animosity, designed to provoke religious sentiments, and unconstitutional.
Strong words from a political figure.
Very. Singh also made broader points, accusing Ramdev of building his whole business empire by, quote, weaponizing religion and nationalism. And he mentioned past issues and scrutiny surrounding Patanjali products.
So connecting this incident to a larger pattern from his perspective.
Right. And Singh specifically said, look, everyone knew Ramdev meant Hamdard, and attacking a Sharbat just because of the owner's religion is hate speech.
Makes sense. What's happened with that police complaint?
Well, as of yesterday, April 22nd, the police confirmed they're investigating, but no FIR had actually been registered yet. So it's kind of in limbo for now.
Still, the fact that a politician filed a complaint adds another layer of pressure, another dimension to the whole thing.
Definitely. Stepping back, it's easy to chuckle at the idea of a syrup war, but this really does touch on some incredibly important things, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The power words have, especially from public figures, the fragility sometimes of communal harmony in a place as diverse as India, and the responsibility people with huge platforms have.
Yeah. India's whole fabric is woven with different faiths and cultures living side by side, intertwined. Trying to create divisions over something like a drink feels dangerous.
And Hamdard itself is kind of a symbol of that older syncretism, isn't it? Founded in 1906, rooted in Unani medicine, that traditional system with Greek and Middle Eastern origins.
Exactly. Even the name Rooh Afza means soul refresher in Persian. It speaks to a shared heritage, not a divisive one. It's always been a drink that crosses those lines.
Which is why the court's strong stance feels so significant. It's like a warning shot against using this kind of divisive rhetoric, especially for a commercial game.
And Mukul Rohatgi, Hamdard's lawyer, even suggested this case could have ripple effects on how hate speech laws are interpreted more broadly.
That's interesting. So the legal precedent here could be quite important, clarifying where the line is between competitive marketing and speech that risks inciting hatred or discord.
It really could. It's just the absurdity hits you sometimes, right? We're in 2025 talking about space travel and AI, and here we are deep in a legal fight over syrup.
It does feel a bit surreal.
In Ramdev's defense, I didn't name them, followed by, but if they admit it, they should be happy about it. It's just such a strange logical loop.
It's definitely a bold, maybe even contradictory stance compared to Hamdard just going straight to the courts, seeking legal remedy. It's a very different approach.
Yeah, Hamdard seems to be playing it very straight, legally speaking. Let the courts handle the defamation and the communal discord accusations.
It avoids getting into a public mudslinging match, perhaps. Focuses on the legal merits.
And of course, the internet did what the internet does.
Oh boy, memes.
Oh, lots of memes. But also genuine outrage on X, formerly Twitter. People were shocked by the remarks. News outlets like Live Law India, Meg Updates, they were all highlighting the court's strong words.
But I imagine there were defenders, too.
For sure. You saw people defending Ramdev, talking about free speech, or saying he was just pointing something out, or that Hamdard does fund those things, so what's the big deal? Standard online polarization.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. The social media reaction kind of mirrors the larger societal divisions, doesn't it?
Totally. You had the hashtag Sharbat Jihad, hashtag vending, people sharing memes, comparing the two bottles, stuff like that. It just shows how quickly these things get amplified and sometimes trivialized, even when the underlying issue is serious.
Navigating that online space around sensitive topics is always tricky.
And we should probably mention this isn't exactly the first time Ramdev has been involved in controversy.
No, he has a bit of a track record, doesn't he?
Yeah, there was the whole thing about claiming yoga could cure COVID-19, which led to legal action from the Indian Medical Association. The Supreme Court has actually pulled up Patanjali for misleading ads more than once.
Right, I remember that. And didn't he have issues in Kerala, too?
Yep, bailable warrants issued by a court there over similar complaints, apparently. And his comments about allopathy, modern medicine, have definitely caused friction before.
Even Mukul Rohatgi made a little aside in court about having defended Ramdev in the past, didn't he? Adds a layer of irony.
He did. And Digvijay Singh also pointed to this history in his complaint, suggesting a pattern. Plus, Patanjali products themselves have faced scrutiny over quality issues in the past.
So there's a context here of pushing boundaries and facing pushback.
Definitely. So where does that leave us now? The Delhi High Court has laid down the law, for now. Ramdev has until May 1st to file that affidavit promising to stop.
And Hamdard is pushing for a permanent injunction, right? To make sure this doesn't happen again.
Yes, that's their goal. Meanwhile, the police investigation based on Digvijay Singh's complaint is still technically ongoing in Bhopal, though we don't know where that will lead.
It feels like a pivotal moment, maybe? Could impact Ramdev's brand image long term, depending on how this plays out. And it certainly reinforces Hamdard's legacy if they successfully defend against this.
Yeah. I mean, the big takeaway really is just how powerful language can be, isn't it? Especially from people with a massive following.
Absolutely. And the absolute need to be mindful of communal harmony. It's not something to be played with, especially not for, selling syrup.
There has to be some accountability when public figures use rhetoric that could potentially divide people.
That's the crux of it. This whole Sharbat Jihad episode, as odd as it sounds, is a really stark reminder of that responsibility. It highlights the need for careful, thoughtful communication in a society as diverse as India's.
So yeah, we started with a seemingly simple bottle of Sharbat, but it's opened up this whole conversation about commerce, identity, influence, and the lines that shouldn't be crossed. It definitely leaves you thinking, where exactly is that line between competitive business and harmful rhetoric, especially when religion gets pulled into the mix, something to keep mulling over.